Sports have a unique power. They can make millions of people cry, laugh, and feel something deep all at the same time. Some moments go far beyond the game itself. They touch something real. Today, we're counting down the top 10 most emotional moments in sports history, moments that made the whole world stop and feel. Number 10. Andrés Iniesta's World Cup winner, a goal dedicated to a lost friend. It's the 2010 FIFA World Cup final. Spain vs Netherlands. The score is 0-0 going into extra time. The tension is unbearable. And then Andrés Iniesta receives the ball just inside the box, controls it and slots it home in the 116th minute. Spain wins their first ever World Cup. The whole country explodes with joy. But what made this moment truly emotional wasn't just the goal, it was what Iniesta did right after. He lifted his shirt to reveal a message dedicated to his close friend Dani Jarque, who had passed away the year before from a heart attack at just 26 years old. In that one celebration, there was joy, grief, love, and triumph all wrapped together. Iniesta later said it was a moment he had dreamed of sharing with Dani. The entire world felt that weight. It wasn't just football, it was human. Number 9. Derek Redmond finishes the race with his father by his side. The 1992 Barcelona Olympics. Derek Redmond, a British sprinter, is running the 400-meter semi-final, a race he had trained his whole life for. Then, about halfway through, his hamstring tears. He collapses to the ground in agony. Officials rush toward him, but Derek refuses to stop. He gets up and starts hobbling toward the finish line, crying in pain, determined to finish. Then, out of nowhere, a man pushes through the crowd, through the security, and gets onto the track. It's his father, Jim Redmond. He wraps his arm around his son and says, "You don't have to do this." Derek replies, "Yes, I do." And together, they walk across the finish line. The entire stadium gives them a standing ovation. This moment has nothing to do with winning. It's about a father's love and a son's will. Tissues ready, people. Number 8. LeBron James finally brings a championship home to Cleveland. For decades, Cleveland had been called one of the most cursed sports cities in America. No major championship since 1964. And LeBron James, who had left Cleveland, won 2 rings in Miami, and then come back, had promised to bring a title home. In 2016, the Cleveland Cavaliers were down 3-1 to the Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals, a team that had won a record 73 regular season games. No team in NBA Finals history had ever come back from that deficit, but Cleveland did it. When the final buzzer sounded in Game 7, LeBron collapsed on the court, sobbing. He wasn't just crying for himself, he was crying for an entire city that had waited over 50 years. The footage of fans in Cleveland breaking down in tears, strangers hugging each other in the streets, that's the kind of stuff that reminds you why sports matter so much to so many people. Number 7. Serena Williams wins the Australian Open while pregnant. In January 2017, Serena Williams won the 2017 Australian Open, her 23rd Grand Slam title, the most in the Open era. That alone was historic. But there was more. She was 8 weeks pregnant. She didn't even know for most of the tournament. Yet she pushed through fatigue and the physical demands of early pregnancy and still dominated the competition. When the news came out, the world was stunned. It wasn't just greatness, it was something almost unimaginable. A story of strength, resilience and motherhood that went far beyond sport. Number 6. The miracle on ice. USA beats the Soviet Union in 1980. It's 1980. The Cold War is at its peak. The United States and the Soviet Union are locked in one of the tensest political standoffs in history. And then they meet on an ice hockey rink at the Winter Olympics in Lake Placid, New York. The Soviet team was arguably the greatest hockey team ever assembled. They had not lost an Olympic game in 12 years. The American team? College kids. Complete amateurs. Nobody gave them a chance. But with 10 minutes left in the game, the US took the lead. And then they held on. When the final buzzer sounded, Al Michaels, the broadcaster, delivered what became one of the most iconic lines in sports history. Do you believe in miracles? Yes. Players fell on top of each other. the crowd went insane, and millions of Americans watching at home felt something they hadn't felt in a while: pure, unfiltered joy. This wasn't just a hockey game, it was a moment of hope for an entire nation. Number 5. Muhammad Ali lights the Olympic flame in 1996. The 1996 Atlanta Olympics. Everyone is wondering who will light the Olympic cauldron, and then the torch is passed, and there he is, Muhammad Ali, the greatest. But this wasn't the Ali the world remembered, fast, sharp, full of fire. This was a man battling Parkinson's disease, his hand visibly trembling as he held the torch. The crowd fell silent for a moment, then erupted. Ali steadied himself, raised the torch, and lit the flame. The whole world watched with tears in their eyes. Here was a man who had been stripped of his title, banned from boxing, mocked and threatened, and he had outlasted all of it. He stood there, shaking but unbroken, at the center of the world's greatest sporting event. Number 4. Nelson Mandela wears the Springbok jersey, Rugby World Cup 1995. South Africa, 1995, just after apartheid ended, with a nation still divided. The 1995 Rugby World Cup brought a rare opportunity. Rugby, once a symbol of oppression, stood at the center of it all. When South Africa defeated New Zealand in the final, Nelson Mandela walked onto the field wearing the Springbok jersey of Captain Francois Pienaar. In that moment, everything changed. A symbol of division became one of unity. Pienaar was in tears. The nation celebrated together, black and white, side by side. Number 3. Naomi Osaka honoring Breonna Taylor, US Open 2020. The 2020 US Open came during a deeply tense moment in America, and Naomi Osaka stepped up as more than just an athlete. Before each match, she wore masks with names like Breonna Taylor, Trayvon Martin, Ahmaud Arbery, and George Floyd, turning the spotlight into a message. She said she wanted to start conversations, not arguments. When she won the title, she broke down in tears, overwhelmed by the moment and the weight she carried. The crowd gave her a standing ovation. Number 2. Eric Musambani's 100 meters freestyle swim, Sydney Olympics 2000. This one hits different because it's not about winning, but pure heart. Eric Musambani had only been swimming for 8 months before the 2000 Sydney Olympics. Entering the 100 meters freestyle on a wildcard, he ended up swimming alone after his competitors were disqualified. He struggled through the race, barely holding on, but the crowd rose, cheering him every second of the way. He finished with the slowest time in Olympic history, yet received a standing ovation. Because that day, he showed the world that sometimes just finishing is the real victory. Number 1. Game 7, 2001 World Series. Baseball heals a nation after 9/11. Game 7, 2001 World Series. Arizona Diamondbacks vs New York Yankees just weeks after 9/11, with a grieving nation watching. The Yankees, led by Mariano Rivera, are 1 out away from winning. Then everything changes. The Diamondbacks rally and Luis Gonzalez hits a walk-off single to win it all. The stadium erupts. Players cry. Fans cry. More than a game, it became a moment of pain, hope and healing for an entire nation. And that is our list of the top 10 most emotional moments in sports. Every single one of these moments proves that sport is never just about the score. It's about the people, the stories, the struggle, and the human spirit that refuses to give up. If one of these moments gave you goosebumps or brought a tear to your eye, then you know exactly why we love sports as much as we do. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, because we have a lot more of these coming. Drop in the comments which moment hit you the hardest. Until next time, take care.